Before anything else today, I want you to take a moment to just breathe. Deep breath in and out. Let your mind slow down for a few seconds. I want to talk to you this morning, not as someone preaching at you, but as someone walking alongside you, someone who, just like you, wakes up each day with doubts, hopes, responsibilities, dreams, and challenges. But what if I told you that the way you speak to yourself when you wake up could change everything? See, every morning when you open your eyes, you're given a gift, another chance. And how you start that chance, how you begin that day can ripple into everything else that follows. The conversations you have, the decisions you make, the way you react, the risks you take, and the joy you allow yourself to feel. All of that starts with your inner dialogue. So I want to share with you some things, powerful things you should begin telling yourself every morning. Not just repeating them like a script, but speaking them like truth until they become the foundation on which your days are built. When you wake up, before you scroll, before you check notifications, before your feet even touch the floor, tell yourself this: I am alive, and that is enough to be grateful for. Because everything you want, everything you're chasing, all the goals and plans, they're only possible because you woke up today. Gratitude, even in its simplest form, grounds you. It reminds you that not everything is promised, but some things, like the breath in your lungs, are precious. Then tell yourself this: I am not behind. I am not late. I am not lost. I am on my path, even if it doesn't look like someone else's. See, comparison will choke your joy. It's a thief, a liar, a manipulator. You don't need to move at someone else's pace. You don't need to follow someone else's timeline. What's meant for you will come, not in their season, but in yours. Don't measure your worth by their milestones. Measure it by your resilience, your growth, your quiet wins that no one sees but you. Look in the mirror and remind yourself, I am worthy of love, of peace, of success, of healing, not because I've achieved something, not because I've been perfect, but because I exist, and that is enough. So many of us walk through life carrying invisible scars, stories we've never told, battles we've fought alone, and in that silence we start to believe we're broken or undeserving. But worth is not something you earn. It's something you recognize, and it starts when you look at yourself with compassion instead of judgment. Tell yourself, I can do hard things. I've done them before. I'll do them again. Life doesn't promise comfort. It promises challenge. But inside those challenges are opportunities to grow muscles you didn't even know you had. Mental muscles, emotional ones, spiritual strength. Every difficult thing you faced before, you survived. And every time you face something again, you're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience. Another thing to whisper to yourself, especially on the days when you feel stuck: I am allowed to change. I am allowed to grow. I am allowed to become someone new. We live in a world that sometimes wants to keep us in a box, define us by our past, our mistakes, or even our success. But you are not a statue. You're a story, and stories evolve. Let yourself grow without guilt. Don't apologize for becoming the next version of yourself, especially when that version is wiser, healthier, and freer. Say this too: I do not need to have all the answers right now, and that's okay. There is strength in uncertainty. There is courage in saying, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. We live in a time where everyone wants to be right, to have everything figured out. But real growth comes from curiosity, not certainty. Allow yourself the grace to figure things out one step at a time. Life isn't a race to clarity. It's a journey of discovery. Tell yourself, I will focus on what I can control and let go of what I cannot. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. So much of our stress comes from trying to manage the unmanageable, other people's opinions, the past, the future, the unknown. But there's freedom in narrowing your focus to what's within your hands: your attitude, your effort, your words, your choices. These are your domain. Everything else, let it go, or at least loosen your grip. Each morning speak this truth. I am not my mistakes. I am not my failures. I am not my fears. I am more than the worst things I've done or the hardest things I've faced. We all carry regret. We've all messed up, made bad calls, hurt people and disappointed ourselves. But you are not frozen in time by your worst moments. You are still growing, still redeemable, still worthy. The past is a chapter, not your title. Another powerful reminder to give yourself. Today, I choose progress over perfection. Perfection is a myth. It's an illusion. But progress, that's real. That's measurable. That's attainable. If you're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of yourself, you'll be waiting forever. But progress starts with a small step, a single choice, an imperfect action that gets you closer to your goals. Let yourself be messy. As long as you're moving, look ahead and say today is full of possibilities. Even if yesterday was hard, even if last week drained you, even if you don't know what's coming tomorrow, today is still new. It's still unwritten. Don't bring the weight of old days into fresh ones. Let today be its own. There might be a breakthrough waiting, a new opportunity, a kind word, a connection, a spark of inspiration. But you won't see any of it if you expect today to be just like the rest. Another thing to carry with you. I am not alone, even when it feels like no one understands, even when I feel invisible. I am not alone. There is always someone somewhere who cares. And if I need help, I'm allowed to ask for it. We often suffer in silence because we think strength means solitude. But real strength is in vulnerability, in saying I need someone. So reach out, connect, speak. You don't have to carry everything alone. Tell yourself, especially on the hard mornings, my best today may look different than my best yesterday. And that's okay. Some days you'll be full of energy, ideas and motivation. Other days, just getting out of bed is the win. Don't judge yourself by inconsistent standards. Life is dynamic. You're not a machine. Grace means meeting yourself where you are, not where you think you should be. And never forget to say this: I am enough, just as I am, right now, without earning it, without proving it, without fixing myself. It's one of the hardest things to believe in a world that constantly tells you to improve, to upgrade, to hustle. But worth isn't tied to productivity. Value doesn't need validation. You are enough. Not when you reach the goal, not when you look a certain way, not when others approve. You are enough now. Lastly, speak this with confidence. I am responsible for the energy I bring into the world. My words, my tone, my presence. It matters. It affects others. It shapes my world. So today, I will try to bring kindness. I will try to bring calm. I will try to be the kind of energy that heals, not harms. And when I fail, because I will try again, because the energy I give is the legacy I leave in every room I enter. When you begin to speak these things to yourself each morning, not as empty affirmations, but as rooted truths, you change the rhythm of your day. You plant seeds that grow into patience, confidence, purpose, and peace. And slowly, you rewire the way you see the world. You stop surviving and start living. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop hiding and start becoming. It doesn't matter what yesterday looked like. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of your journey. It doesn't even matter if you fully believe these things yet. What matters is that you say them until you do, that you let your words lead you until your heart catches up. So tomorrow morning when the alarm goes off and your feet hit the floor, don't just wake up. Rise. Rise with intention. Rise with self-respect. Rise with belief in your voice, your power, and your story. Because yes, you are already more than enough. And your morning words might just be the most powerful thing you speak all day. When you wake up each morning, the very first thing you do, consciously or unconsciously, sets the emotional tone for your entire day. Too often we reach for our phones, scroll through news or social media, and instantly flood our minds with comparison, urgency, or anxiety. But what if instead we simply paused and acknowledged one powerful truth? We are alive. We've been given another day, another chance. That simple shift in awareness is the beginning of gratitude. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you. It's a mindset, a way of seeing the world that turns even ordinary things into something meaningful. When you wake up and consciously tell yourself, I'm grateful to be here, you begin to orient your thinking toward possibility instead of pressure. You start your day not from a place of lack, what you don't have, what's not going right, but from a place of abundance, even if that abundance is as simple as breath, shelter, or the ability to try again. The power of gratitude lies in its ability to reframe. Life is never going to be free of struggle, stress, or disappointment. There will always be things that go wrong, plans that fall apart, and moments that feel unfair. But when you practice gratitude intentionally, you give yourself the mental and emotional resilience to face those things without becoming consumed by them. You begin to notice what is still good, still working, still worth holding on to. And gratitude isn't just reserved for the obvious blessings. It can be found in unlikely places, in lessons learned the hard way, in the silence of a tough season, in the strength you discover when you're forced to start over. Gratitude doesn't mean denying pain or pretending everything is fine. It means choosing to see the whole picture, not just the shadow, but the light too. When you begin your morning rooted in gratitude, it changes how you see others. You become less likely to react with frustration and more likely to respond with empathy. You stop measuring your worth against others because your sense of value is no longer tied to external markers. Gratitude centers you. It reminds you that what you have is enough, that you are, and even the smallest rituals, thanking the morning sun, appreciating a hot shower, savoring your first sip of coffee, can become anchors of presence and peace. You don't need a perfect life to feel grateful. You just need open eyes and a willing heart. The more you practice it, the more it grows. Gratitude multiplies itself. It deepens your relationships, lightens your burdens, and elevates your perspective. So when the day begins, let gratitude be your first thought, not because life is always easy, but because even in its messiness, there is still so much worth noticing, so much worth appreciating, and so much worth waking up for. Self-worth is not conditional. It's not something you earn, achieve, or unlock after hitting a milestone or fixing all your flaws. It's not tied to your job title, your relationship status, your bank account, your body shape, or your productivity. It's simply the moment you were born, you were worthy. Nothing and no one can take that from you. But life has a way of making you forget. From a young age, we're often taught to associate our value with performance. Get good grades, and you're praised. Be polite and you're accepted. Achieve something impressive, and you're celebrated. And while there's nothing wrong with being recognized for hard work or growth, the danger comes when we begin to believe that our worth is dependent on those things. That if we're not constantly proving, improving, or achieving, we somehow matter less. This belief quietly becomes part of our internal narrative. We look in the mirror and think, I'll be enough when I lose the weight. Or we tell ourselves, I'll feel proud once I finally get that promotion. And while striving for better is natural, it becomes damaging when we withhold love and respect from ourselves until we reach some imaginary finish line. That's not self-worth. That's conditional approval, and it's exhausting. True self-worth says, I am enough, right here, right now, even if I made mistakes, even if I'm still figuring things out, even if I'm not where I thought I'd be. It doesn't ignore areas for growth. It just means that growth isn't a requirement for being seen, heard, or loved. You don't have to be fixed to be valued. You don't have to wait until you're perfect to start showing up fully. When you recognize that your worth is unconditional, everything changes. You stop chasing validation from others because you've already given it to yourself. You stop shrinking to fit expectations because you're no longer afraid of being too much or not enough. You stop tolerating relationships, jobs, and situations that make you feel small because you know you deserve more. And the most powerful thing is that unconditional self-worth isn't ego. It's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about recognizing that no one is more worthy than you, and you are not more worthy than anyone else. It's a level playing field, a quiet, steady truth that says I belong just as I am. Start each day with that truth, not just as an affirmation, but as a belief to carry into your actions, your boundaries, and your voice. Because the world doesn't get to decide your worth. You do. And once you stop negotiating it, you start living like someone who truly knows their value without needing to prove a thing. Somewhere along the way, we start believing that we need to stay consistent with who we once were, what we used to believe, how we used to behave, the roles we played, the labels we accepted. We tell ourselves, this is just who I am, as if our identity is set in stone, as if any shift would somehow make us inauthentic or unreliable. But the truth is, clinging to an outdated version of yourself just to make others comfortable is not strength. It's fear disguised as loyalty to the past. You are not obligated to be the same person you were a year ago, or even a week ago. Every experience, every heartbreak, every failure, every moment of clarity, it all shapes you. Growth doesn't always come with a dramatic transformation. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's a slow unraveling of old beliefs that no longer serve you. Sometimes it's waking up and realizing you no longer want what you once chased. And that's okay. You're allowed to let go of people, habits, and identities that once defined you. You're allowed to shift your boundaries, change your mind, or start over, even if others don't understand. Because growth isn't about pleasing others. It's about becoming who you truly are underneath all the expectations. And sometimes that means disappointing people. Sometimes it means being misunderstood. But that's a small price to pay for finally stepping into alignment with yourself. There will be people who say, you've changed, like it's an accusation. But growth will always look like change. That's not something to hide from. It's something to embrace. You're not betraying your past self. You're honoring the truth of who you are now. Evolution is not failure. It's the most honest expression of being alive. And the beauty of allowing yourself to change is that it gives others permission to do the same. When you choose to evolve instead of staying stuck in roles or relationships that no longer fit, you model what it means to live honestly. You show that it's okay to rewrite the story midway through. So if you're feeling the pull to shift your beliefs, your priorities, your pace, listen to it. That voice inside you that wants something more, something deeper. It's not your enemy. It's your inner compass, asking you to grow. Trust it. Honor it. There is no final version of you. You're a living, breathing, ever unfolding story, and every chapter, every change is allowed. Perfection is a moving target, one that keeps shifting just out of reach. The moment you think you're getting close, it's the voice in your head that says, not quite good enough, no matter how hard you try. It convinces you to delay action until everything is flawless, polished, and guaranteed to succeed. But the reality is, perfection is a myth. It doesn't exist. Not in people, not in plans, not in outcomes, and chasing it will drain you. Progress, on the other hand, is real, tangible, achievable. It's that small step you take, even when you're scared. It's choosing to try again after a failure. It's showing up for yourself when no one else notices. Progress doesn't ask for greatness. It just asks for movement. It's rooted in growth, not image. And unlike perfection, progress builds confidence, resilience, and momentum. The idea that you need to have it all figured out before you start is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. You don't need the perfect plan to begin. You don't need to be fearless to take a risk. You don't need to know how it all ends to take the first step. What you need is the willingness to be messy, to be uncomfortable, to make mistakes, because that's where real change happens. Not in the perfect moments, but in the imperfect ones you didn't quit. We're often so afraid of getting it wrong that we never even try, or we start but we hold back. We edit ourselves, We play small. We get stuck in preparation instead of action. But the truth is, no one ever mastered anything by waiting until they were ready. They got better by doing. They learned through failure. They built something by starting before they were sure. Progress looks different every day. Some days it's big and bold, like landing a new job, having a breakthrough, or finally finishing something important. Other days, it's quiet and invisible, like getting out of bed when you wanted to stay down, saying no to something that drains you, or forgiving yourself for falling short. Both are equally valid. Both count, because progress isn't linear, and it doesn't always look impressive, but it always matters. Let go of the need to be perfect. Let go of the idea that your value comes from doing everything right. What matters is that you keep moving, keep learning, keep growing, even if it's slow, even if it's uncertain, even if it's a little messy, because every step you take, no matter how small, adds up. One step becomes two, a stumble becomes strength, a failure becomes fuel. So remind yourself daily, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to keep going, because progress, not perfection, is what turns effort into transformation. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but it's one of the most freeing and difficult truths to actually live. So much of our stress, anxiety, and frustration comes not from what's happening to us, but from our desire to control it all, to manage the outcome, to predict the future, to keep people happy, to avoid discomfort. And yet, no matter how hard we try, some things will always remain outside of our influence. The more we resist that truth, the more exhausted we become. Think about how much time we spend trying to control things we never really could. How people perceive us, whether they approve or agree, the way someone reacts to our honesty, how quickly something happens, or whether it unfolds exactly the way we imagine. We try to micromanage every detail, hoping we'll feel safer or more secure. But control is an illusion. Even on your best day, you can't force life to go your way. What you can control, your attitude, your choices, your boundaries, your effort, is more than enough. And the sooner you narrow your focus to those things, the more peace you'll feel. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you give up. It just means you stop wasting your energy on outcomes that were never fully in your hands to begin with. Letting go doesn't mean being passive. It means choosing where your energy goes. It means you still show up, still give your best, but without gripping so tightly that you lose yourself in the process. It's saying, I will do what I can, with what I have, where I am, and after that I will release the rest. You can't control the past, no matter how much you replay it, dissect it, or wish it had gone differently, but you can choose how you move forward from it. You can't control how others treat you, but you can choose how you respond and what you accept. You can't control the future, but you can build toward it with intention instead of fear. Letting go requires trust. Trust that things will unfold in their own time. Trust that even setbacks and uncertainty carry lessons. Trust that you can survive and adapt, even when things don't go to plan. And trust in yourself, that you're strong enough to handle what's yours, and wise enough to release what isn't. There's a kind of quiet power in surrender, not weakness, not resignation, but clarity. It's the power of standing in your own lane, focused on your own growth, while allowing life to be unpredictable. When you stop trying to control everything, you open up space for peace, for clarity, for presence, and in that space, you'll find that you don't need control to be okay. You just need trust, effort, and the courage to let go. Your words shape your reality more than most people realize. The things you say to yourself, day in and day out, become the lens through which you see the world. And your inner dialogue creates a mental atmosphere that either lifts you up or holds you down. It either plants seeds of growth or reinforces self-doubt. And it all begins with language. Every time you say, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or I'll never change, you're not just expressing a passing thought, you're reinforcing a belief system. You're training your brain to accept limitation, to stay small, to expect failure. On the other hand, when you say, I'll figure it out, this is hard, but I'm capable, or I'm learning, you're doing the opposite. You're building a mindset that supports your resilience, not your fear. The way you speak to yourself in private shapes how you carry yourself in public. If your self-talk is harsh, critical, or dismissive, that energy leaks into everything. Your posture, your tone, your decision. But if your inner voice is kind, realistic, and encouraging, you show up with more confidence, more clarity, more calm. That's not toxic positivity. It's self-respect. Words are powerful because they don't just describe reality. They influence. If you walk into your day telling yourself, today's going to be awful, your brain will find proof to support that expectation. You'll notice the setbacks, overlook the small wins, and miss opportunities for joy. But if you tell yourself today might be challenging, but I can handle it, your mind stays open. You look for solutions. You're more flexible, more optimistic, more grounded. Even the words you use casually, I'm such an idiot, I always screw things up, I'm just bad at this, they matter. Your brain listens, your body feels it, and over time, you begin to believe. That belief shapes your habits, your relationships, your willingness to try new things. It quietly directs your entire path. But here's the good news. If words can build self-doubt, they can also build strength. You can choose better ones. You can rewrite the script you've been repeating for years. Start small. Replace I can't with I'll try. Replace I'm not there yet with I'm getting there. Speak to yourself like someone you care about, like someone you're rooting for, because you. And this isn't about pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's about being honest and empowering, saying this is hard and I'm still showing up, or I made a mistake, but I'm learning from it. It's about giving yourself language that helps you grow instead of holding you back. So pay attention to your words, especially the quiet ones, the ones no one hears but you. They are shaping your world. Speak with intention, speak with respect, speak with belief, because your words don't just describe who you are, they shape who you become.